Assalamu alaikum. So the discussion on racism continues, and it has been happening far and wide in many parts of the world and in many corporations, many government organizations at multitude of levels, and it is shaping up in multiple different ways. So racism is a disease that has infested our minds in all walks of the society. However, it is important to know and realize that problem is not limited to race. It is a broader problem that deals with discrimination based on race, age, gender, culture, caste, ethnicity, country, religion, education background, and many more aspects. So the bigger question is discrimination, not just racism. In this regard, we had a very insightful discussion with an esteemed panel from across the US, especially the Northeast. And all the panelists who are of foreign origin, Americans of foreign origin. And their perspective was very enlightening on the topic of racism. I would like to share a few thoughts on this thought-provoking discussion as it relates to the role of Muslims. First of all, we need to understand as Muslims that discrimination is not an issue that is new. While one or many might suggest that it has been around for probably a few hundred years, the discrimination was present at the time of creation of Adam. And how would I say that? Is when Iblis, Shaitan, Lanatullah alayh, held back from accepting Allah's orders because of discrimination. Or should I say self-inspired racial superiority, that Adam is created from clay and he was created from fire, and because fire in his thought was superior to clay, he decided to ignore the command of the Creator. As a result, Iblis was thrown out of heavens and was cursed for eternity. So this brings a very important lesson for us. Our superiority has to be based on what the Creator identifies rather than what we defined based on our own conjectures, which will not only lead us astray but also lead to the destruction of all of our good deeds. Secondly, diversity should be considered as the source of strength. Allah mentions clearly in Quran that we have created you differently so that you may identify each other. This identification means that we have different experiences, different backgrounds, and see things differently. The world today has now realized that diversity of opinion can yield much better results than consistency of opinions. And we have seen this applied many a times, especially even in the history of Islam, when Hazrat Salman Farsi gave the idea and advice of digging trenches, which was accepted when one of the biggest armies of the Arab non-Muslims were about to attack Medina. As the result of this idea of Hazrat Salman Farsi, Muslims were successful, and this battle became known in the history as the Battle of the Trenches. Thirdly, we live in a society that is designed to favor the white-colored people, not only in America, but around the world. And there's nothing against the white color. I'll give you an example. In America, where all white people are referred to as Americans, whether originally from Italy, Germany, Ukraine, Britain, or any other European country, but everyone else is either African American, Asian American, Indian American. So this differentiation shows the difference in approach. And it is again not because of color. It is just a fact of life that whenever a dominant race, whenever a race is dominant, they try to maneuver the pop culture to showcase themselves as the best. This was true even during the African Empire when blacks were considered the supreme race. In other words, ignorance is a key to racism, and it is imperative upon us to educate the masses to eradicate this disease of racism. Now, after considering these three broader aspects of racism, it is important to understand where we as Muslims stand. Knowing that Allah clearly states in Quran and Prophet mentioned this on multiple occasions that all humans are created equal and superiority is only based on piety, taqwa, fearing God and doing good. But we still see differentiation, discrimination in our mosques, in the way we welcome people of other backgrounds, how that converts are treated, or how Muslims of different sects are seen. Even the Shias of Imam Ali al-Islam don't focus on the bond of wilaya, rather concentrate and congregate with people of the same culture and language in certain corners of the place. In case of Pakistan and India, discrimination based on class and other aspects are embedded in our society, where many people don't respect those who work in their homes and mistreat them. This behavior has made us feel okay about racism, which is why Muslims did not stand up when Muslims were incorrectly racially profiled after 9/11, or when the passengers from the multiple Muslim countries were banned from traveling to the US. This is what happens when a nation sleeps and embraces something wrong. As we lose the appetite for Amar bil Maruf and Nahy anil Munkar, we forget to stand for justice by haqq, even when it is applicable to us. This is a very important lesson for us as a society. If we want to make a difference, we need to first change our attitude towards discrimination. And the only way to do this is by following the teachings of Islam. Allah clearly defines the criteria for your elevation in front of Allah, and in no case it is gender-based, ethnicity-based, culture-based, political affiliation-based, or country-based. It is purely based on fearing Allah and doing good. Furthermore, Allah also delineates the areas where we should differentiate, and then who better to define this criteria than the Creator Himself. Otherwise, we'll be debating about issues which are very trivial, but someone might say, why aren't people equal in these issues? For example, why a baby shouldn't be given permission to drive a car, or why should elderly get Social Security while others don't? This is because humans are created with certain differences and they go through different phases in life which vary by person. Therefore, it is vital to understand and follow the rules outlined by the Creator, which will take us to ultimate success. And this was the message given by Malcolm X. To summarize, we need to limit our approach toward discrimination under the parameters of the religious framework. We need to work aggressively towards equality and reform ourselves first. It is Allah's sign that we have different languages, different colors, different tribes, and every sign is also a test of Allah. For example, the nation of Hazrat Saleh alayhi salam was given a sign in the form of a camel, but that camel was also a test from Allah. Therefore, we need to come out strong out of the sign and stand with the oppressed and discriminated, and start with our local society and then expand to areas where Muslims are broadly discriminated in broad daylight. And I'll give you a pure example. Kingdom of Ali Saud, who discriminate against Muslims visiting the holy sites of their imams and the progeny of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, purely based on their religious beliefs. We will continue this discussion on an ongoing basis to outline the framework given by Allah in Islam regarding discrimination, equality, and abolishing any types of injustice. Assalamu alaikum.